Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly meltdowns coverage of the train wreck that we call Big Brother 24 episode. I don't know. It's the first eviction, or is it? It's not.
Well, we
Somebody's
didn't even have that tonight, so
yeah. The episode. This was a Murphy's Law. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong. We got people not listening, not following directions, flying off, twisting their ankle, believing because they've lost it. I mean, it's all kinds of just.
Well, as soon as I saw Jasmine and Terrence were competing against each other, I said to Tim, I was like, "Oh, this round is literally going to take the rest of the episode," and I was right.
I looked at my husband and I see. How are they gonna wrap this up in 10 minutes?
Right, and we don't even know what the next part of this competition is.
They don't either.
Which is fine because they can bring it for Taylor.
Yeah.
But oh my God, yeah. So even though there was no proper eviction tonight, still some stuff to talk about. Yeah, I will say though, for this live eviction, karma is a bitch in every single way. Karma came back around to Taylor in a good way. Mm-hmm. Karma certainly served a lot of these girls a nice one, including Jasmine tonight with her rolled ankle. Not that I ever wished anybody physical harm.
No, but that shit was funny. I knew exactly what happened, and then she rolled on her side, and I'm like, well, there goes the freaking HOH. This is how unempathetic I am. I'm like, well, there goes the HOH competition. I'm screwed. Wait on this bitch to get up.
Yeah, well, I did ask Tim because he is a podiatrist. I said, from your doctor's opinion, what do you think happened to her ankle? He said it's probably a roll or a sprain or something. So we don't know what's gonna happen with Jasmine, but at least Taylor lives to fight another day. And I'll say I got a little emotional when Julie announced the changes to the twist and stuff, and she said that Taylor was safe, and Taylor just. She just broke down and started crying, and I'm like, girl, I totally understand. That is probably such a release. And I did see some tea online that a PA in production got in trouble for kind of leading her on in the diary room by insinuating that America is rooting for her. So I feel like that and her not going home tonight, I'm sure she had a lot of pep in her step tonight, and I hope that gets her the chutzpah to win this HOH and change up the house, because she deserves it and so much more, for real.
Let's give a shout out to the people who are in the chat. We got BB Bean, who was first, Cassie Lee, who was second, Caitlin Weaver, you were third, Doc Chunk, you were fourth. I'm just gonna give you fourth. Abraham Champagne, you were fifth. Did someone say that Southern girl actually touched the ground? Abraham, I'm going to say that I rolled back my footage, which is very different from what producers. We're going to touch on what the filter that producers see and what the real people say. I think her toe definitely touched. And
well, Julie did say that they checked the tapes during.
Julie Chen can shut the F up. Okay, Allison, Acid Land, Dolores, everybody. Thomas Scott, Doc Chunk, Joseph Boza, Thomas Cook. Hoping not to miss anybody. Here's the thing, Tyler. We are the real people watching. We are the ones that are aware of what's happening, and we have no stake in anything. Hello, Juan Washington Cruz. We can see things for what they are. And I'm telling you, Brittany's little toe brushed that pad. Okay. And when she touched it, it's over.
Yeah.
So whatever. Yeah.
I also want to give a quick shout out to, so we have 3 new patrons. So we have Stephen Van Zandt, who I think will be joining us next week. I told him we definitely have to have him on, as well as Ross Deacon and Kylan Pierre. So welcome patrons to my weekly meltdown. Beth is working on some ideas in the pipeline for us to do some fun like off-topic shows and stuff like that for patrons. So I just wanted to give a welcome to all of our friends and family who, well, not like family by blood,
Speak
but
of
you are
family.
basically blood to us.
My nephew Blake is in the chat. Hello,
Aw.
nephew. How are
Hello,
you,
Blake.
my little buddy? Talking about live feeds this morning. I was blowing his phone up. Okay, I was blowing it up. I apologize. But yes, let's touch on a couple of things. Paloma did leave the game. I haven't been in the live feeds as much as I should have been this week, but from what I could see in the episode, I don't know how well that was edited or whatnot. She did seem a little off center, and I'm not joking at all.
Yeah.
I've seen and witnessed people have severe mental breakdowns, and it's not always what you think it is. And the blurting out and just saying things, just basically telling Taylor while Taylor's trying to explain to her, I just want to go to bed. I don't really care to hear you explain anything. Am I being rude? And Taylor's like, yeah, you're being rude, and I don't know how I feel about Paloma, because I feel like she was losing it and apparently not on her meds. I'm not there. I don't know the whole story. I just pray that whatever's going on, she's okay. And I would never wish ill on anyone, and, especially someone who has struggles with mental illness. That can't be fun. And
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and bash her or say, not that we're going to do that, or continue to say. I just pray that people are not dragging her and continuing to call her unnecessary names and drag her in social media. Enough is enough. It's over. She's gone. I believe
it's done.
Yeah, it's done. And I do believe you will see a shift in the balance of the bullying. I'm not saying she was the ringleader, but I'm not a big Jasmine fan right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for what I've seen and whatever. I'm not big on her. Also, I am from the South, right next to Mississippi, and bitch needs to stop playing up that accent, because she's doing it to be cute. And I know when another Southern woman is playing up an accent. Okay, I can smell it. Knock it off. Okay.
Yeah, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I don't really. I think they handled it very well for a change.
Yeah.
And they slowly moved into what was going on with Paloma, and good for them. But I do think we're going to see some major changes in the House. Bless Daniel's heart. He nominated 2 people and riled them up. Of course, Terrence was a pawn. So I'm kind of waiting to see how that goes. But anyway, so Tyler, tell me how you are. What's going on with you in this game?
Yeah, so I mean, I also don't want to backpedal on anything that we said about Paloma in the last recap that we did, because it started out just as mean girl, really catty bullying behavior, and no matter what is going on, that should never be acceptable, or something that you just kind of have to deal with because of somebody's mental health issues. But we really started to see a shift in the past day or two, from just being a catty girl to just a total break from reality, right? She was talking.
She thought she was Buddha.
She was talking about how this was all just a simulation, and they were all just in a deep sleep, and they needed to find the strength to wake up from their dream together and break the game of Big Brother. Just stuff that is a worse plot than the Hunger Games series. You know what I mean?
Is she 11 in Stranger Things? Is she in a tank?
Right, exactly.
What's happening right now?
Good, but that's the point I'm trying to make, though, is once these things are really hard to diagnose, and I don't want to diagnose say exactly what like, I don't want to speculate on exactly what it is,
Oh, no.
is what I'm trying to say. But I'm glad that she got the help she needed. We don't know how that came to be or anything. We don't know if like production pulled her or if there was like a psychiatrist that said she is not mentally fit to handle this. I have words on that too later. But yeah.
Well, it was
So
karma.
and I also want to just kind of revisit like the conversation that we had on the live feeds show, because I kind of misrepresented myself when I was talking about like how the was it racism, was it microaggressions, was it bullying, was it colorism, like all of this fun stuff. Well, not fun, but like I was saying fun sarcasm.
It's always fun, Tyler.
But so basically like the timeline of events of what happened, and I want to like lay this out because the show on Wednesday didn't represent the events in order at all.
Right.
So basically like how this all started was Pooch went to Daniel like once the veto was won. He was like, you know, like Taylor, like we need to backdoor her because like she is like super aggressive. She's gonna like blow up. She's on the block. Like we're worried about her just like yelling at everybody, getting in everybody's faces. That is what's like microaggression.
Yeah.
That is what is like you have no like history of who this person is or how they're going to react. And honestly, if they were backdoored in week 1, I would be upset too. Like that is not like anything that, like out of the unusual. So to like pin that on Taylor of all people is really problematic. But then after that is when it just started shifting to like everybody just piling on the house target. And that's like where it shifted from like racial undertones to just like flat out like high school, like just terrible bullying. And you know, that's kind of what the environment of Big Brother creates, right? Like you are in self-preservation mode, like the entire time that you're in there, and people are so scared to be that first target, to be the one ostracized out of like 16 house guests, right? So of course, like you are going to even subconsciously, like it's probably not even an active decision of like, I'm gonna really like bury like Taylor's like game here by just like talking a bunch of shit on her. It's really just like a survival self-preservation thing. Not to say that that's like an excuse at all or anything. But so that conversation between Monty and Paloma, where Monty was like ratting out Taylor, that wasn't like the reason that she was put up. Like that conversation happened like once like it was all decided like from the house that she was going to be put on the block, and it was just like piling on Taylor for like game reasons and stuff. I did find it very hypocritical though that like, so Alyssa says tonight in the diary room, she's like, so I definitely want to get another alliance going with the guys, so I have some like intel and we can like report that back to the girls. I'm like, okay, so Taylor can't do that, but Alyssa, you can. And then we heard like Amira like talking about that strategy too and everything. And I'm like, I just don't understand, like the hypocrisy is just like beyond me. But with all that being said, I'm so damn happy that Taylor did not go home tonight.
Can I address something real quick in the chat?
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's so much going on. And I'm trying to see everybody. My nephew Blake said, Paloma said she found a way to hack Big Brother and talked about splitting the money.
I saw that.
That is a big no-no. You're not supposed to talk about, if you're going to split that money, baby, don't mention it to anybody. There is a thing, B Bean does say, Janelle said a lot of past players took medication, but recent players complained because those players had an advantage in comps. So production had become more strict in medications. Can I freaking go off for a second?
Yeah.
Being depressed and mentally unstable is not a gosh damn superpower. I'm not taking 3 different medications right now so I can be the smartest effing person in the room. I'm on all this medication to maintain and be at a level where I'm equal with all you nut jobs. Okay, I said it. I'm not normal at all. Nobody's normal. But I've got to maintain to function in this world like everyone else. I need help. There is a chemical imbalance in my brain. It's not like Tiffany Russo taking Adderall. Okay, this is totally different. And Big Brother has no right to dictate or withhold medication from people who rely on it and need it, because some players want to throw a little fit because they think that, being depressed and clinically insane and having to take medication for it makes us smarter than everybody else. Maybe you don't need to cast those people. How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little empathetic side note when you're kind of doing your homework on people, because we know you're really not. It pisses me off, man. Let people come in and be who they are. If they're mentally ill and they need medication, let them take it.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop doing this to people. I guarantee you, if Paloma had been on the right medication, maybe we would have seen a different version of her. Medication has such a stigma. To me, my medication brings out the best in me that is stuffed way down because of my depression. Okay? It helps me. I don't rely on it. I'm also in therapy. I'm a very big believer in therapy first. But if it doesn't work, mix it up with some meds. Okay? It's all right. But I'm just a little annoyed that this is a thing where these crybabies want to think that we're super mutants and we're fucking Avengers over here. Okay, do I look like the freaking Scarlet Witch or Black Widows? No, I'm not. It doesn't make me quicker. It doesn't make me faster. It actually makes it an even playing field. Do some fucking research.
Yeah.
Okay,
and like to that point as well. Oh, we got a highlighted donation. Kate Diggs said, "Glad we got night one feeds. If we didn't see it all, our perception may have been totally different. Gaslighting at its finest." Thank you so much for that donation to us. All of those funds go towards Allison's flight to New York to visit Beth and I. Yeah. So.
I might have just got bumped to first class.
Have a little cocktail on the plane. But
you're very welcome, Cassie. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but it is very important that we talk about everything on this show, whether it makes people uncomfortable or not. I don't like. I don't know. I just think it's very important. And this is a safe place, by the way. If this is your first time here, this is a safe place. We're going to talk about whatever and be supportive and educate one another. This is not a place of hate. This is not a place of dragging each other. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I want to be called out by my colleagues, and let's learn from the experience and move on. But you're welcome, Cassie. And I get a little excited. I am medicated, by the way. Can you imagine if I weren't? You got to have a sense of humor, but go ahead.
Yeah, so all this to say, Allison, like this is just a production fumble, like through and through, and it's just so embarrassing for them. Like I feel embarrassed that like they probably felt so confident about their cast after Big Brother 23. Like this is like the second season with like this new casting team, but they just really dropped the ball. Like all of this mess, like the Paloma of it all, of course, but like the Taylor of it all wouldn't have happened.
Paloma of it all. Can we use that the rest of the season?
Right. If production just properly screened these people and realized that Paloma was mentally not healthy enough to handle the pressures of Big Brother, and also do a little bit more training on like bullying and like microaggressive behavior and colorism and all of that stuff. It's so important, and this is why. Go ahead and write this on your little tally, Allison. But I feel like BB Can does such a better job at this stuff because like we never we don't get this kind of shit in BB Can.
Up to.
You know what I mean? Like it's just
never.
such a production fumble. And it's all them. It's all them not doing their jobs. It's all them casting the wrong kind of people with the wrong kind of intentions for being on the show. I will say that Michael, as like the super fan of the season, he has been such a bright light this season. And I'm very happy to see him moving forward in this HOH comp and not going home this week and winning.
Did you see him smoke pooch?
Yeah, that was, I'm telling you, Michael might be a secret comp beast.
Yep. I'm here for it, man.
He won that veto. Like it's possible, you know. What would Janelle do if that's in the back of your mind? Like you are going to be a comp beast, right?
Yeah, I love it. Dominic says just in time for BB Can. Of course it is. Yes.
But yeah, it's all like all of these headlines, all of this behavior wouldn't have happened if production just did their job properly and took their job seriously. And we even saw like all of like, I will say I am proud of production for being honest about what the twist was. So just to recap, so the twist was like what I showed for the live feed update show that we did, but it was basically so the House will vote between Taylor and Terrence for somebody to compete against Pooch's choosing Paloma or Alyssa because Brittany won the fan vote. Right. So once Paloma was out, like what was going to happen? But I loved Julie's like line of reasoning. She said like because Paloma was one of the 5 people potentially going home this week, like no matter how it shook out, because she was involved with that twist, she is safe. And I love that she said like Brittany and Alyssa, because of that, you are safe. And then like everybody kind of held their breath, like, all right, is it just a regular vote? That's what I thought was going to happen too. And then she said Taylor and Terrence are safe too. And we just saw Taylor just let out this huge, just like emotional exhale. And we saw her just like kill it with a smile on her face in that comp tonight. So I really hope that that you're right, Allison, that like the ugly behavior is kind of behind us now, and this is like a new chapter for the season. We'll see who wins HOH.
Can we address last night's episode real quick? Wednesday night's episode. I haven't rolled my eyes this much in a very long time. I seriously, Taylor's in there putting on her pageant, you know, her beautiful glittery outfits. Yeah. Just because and showing the girl, not to, I didn't really feel like it was to, show off or anything. And the girls are like, oh, yeah, oh. And then they get in the diary room like, oh, my God, she just wants attention and barf.
It's so bitchy. It's so high school.
And it's so freaking fake. And then like tonight, you had Paloma who is talking to Taylor. And after all the shit smack and talk she did about her, is crying with her about being nominated. Of course, now I kind of can, that makes sense because of, what happened. But it just, the amount of fakeness, I don't even really think it was a full Paloma problem. Man, you get a bunch of girls together. We've all seen Mean Girl. And it's in life, and it can be, and men can be men can be just as bad as little girls. I'm telling you right now. But you get some girls together, and you all love to bitch and complain and judge. It is everybody. It's everybody.
But it's primal. Like even chickens in like a pen do this. It's really just like the psychology of like a pecking order, and like in the context of a game where you're trying to survive, that's going to happen.
Jasmine even encouraged her to do it. She's telling her, "Oh, girl, do it." And then she's like, "Oh, this girl, she just wants some attention." Gotta hate Mississippi accents. And their Mississippi accents are not that bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But geez.
Yeah. So I just like, I hope that
Jasmine is the worst. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that's I mean, like we don't have like we don't even have like an eviction to talk about really. But did you see that Survivor commercial showing like the behind the scenes production?
Did you? Okay,
I really
here we
enjoyed
go.
that.
I need to start a tally of this. Once again, Tyler.
Oh, I know you said it in the chat, but like I had it on my notes too.
No. Doesn't pay attention to what I say because I texted you. Oh, here we go with Jeff Probst.
No, I know. I acknowledge that I saw that. Like I'm not bringing this up for the first time us chatting, but
but it's fun to rattle you. It's fun to watch you sweat. But the fun part was we got to put up with Jeff Probst doing this. Hey guys, this is the challenge area where the competition's going to say blah blah blah, and you've never seen this part of it before. And now he's like coming up. Now his ass is popping up in commercials. Guys, this is what production looks like on Survivor. We got.
I mean, maybe that's where all the Adderall that they like take from the Big Brother house goes.
They give all the medication. They deny the Big Brother contestants to Jeff Probst. Each year they're testing out different meds. Dude, we know there's behind the scenes crap. We know there's cameras. We know there's
I
stuff
love
going
seeing
on,
that
Jeff.
kind of stuff though, because like Survivor production, and we'll get back to Big Brother, but like Survivor production does such a good job of like really not showing like how, like you would think that it's just like one or two cameras, but it is like just a huge crew. BBB. Yeah. So anyway, I think Julie was definitely taking some of those meds by the end of tonight because she was rushing so much at the end. Like she was like, next week there's a huge announcement that'll shake up the game. Let's each up on the house guests. Love one another and good night. Bye. Like it was so.
Well, dude, she's had
she
enough.
was pissed.
I could feel Julie Moonves Chin's energy because freaking first two to go up, Pooch and Michael. She says, "All right, on your mark, get set, go." I go. I said,
she clearly like forgot to like click her button or something.
And I'm waiting for her to say, "I said, fucking go."
Just go whenever you want.
Or just sit here all night because there's no way we're going to finish this HOH competition anyway before this episode's over. So why am I even rushing? I don't even care. I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel.
I always get really annoyed too when like the HOH comp isn't done by the end of the night and it's not endurance. So like I hate that like we don't even have we have nothing to speculate on except for like the fact that Michael, Kyle, Taylor, and what's her name, Jasmine with her sprained leg or ankle are moving on to part 2 of this comp that we don't even know. We also don't even know if there's going to be like another backstage boss this week. And
she said it's done. I think Julie basically said in the beginning, okay, you didn't see some of the beginning, but she said this is coming to an end. We're not. And I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, that's a shame because like I I'm not like twist crazy because they usually just helps the majority alliance and it's usually like really half baked. But I think that this like say like Taylor won that comp for like the battle back or whatever, and then she is backstage boss for this week and gets to choose like the 3 people. I think that's very well balanced to kind of pressure the HOH to think about not only who they're targeting for eviction, but who will be left behind by the end of the week and get power. Like it really helps the person that like it prevents like somebody from being nominated like every single week as like a pawn.
You think Jasmine's moving on? Do you really think Jasmine's moving on?
Well, somebody in the chat said that part 2 is mental, so she can move on, but she's not going to win mental. I'll tell you that one.
Can I just go on the record and say
against Michael?
Mental might not be the correct word we need to use right now for a competition. If it's mental, you should let the people on medication play. Maybe the people that aren't on medication shouldn't be participating in the mental comps.
I mean, that truly is like the worst
lost my mind.
Like
I apologize. It's been a long effing day. I was at my mom's house.
No, you're good. All we can do is speculate because there's nothing else to really talk about. But so yeah, anything else? I do have one more thing I want to say at the end, but anything else before we wrap up?
I don't like Jasmine anymore. I'm just Paloma-ing her to myself and not the world, because that's like, listen, can I say something? I bully the shit out of these people in my living room to myself. Don't even get started. I say some crazy shit, but I keep it to myself.
There you go.
You know, I'm not I'm not going crazy being a nut. You know, well, I am a nut job, but I mean, I'm not going off the Richter or anything. But I'd sit there with my cats and judge. We make some pretty bad comments, but I would never do these things to other people, you know, because it's common damn sense. But yeah, I'm not a big. Let's just go over real quick before we wrap this up. I know you've got something to say, but how are we feeling about people in the house now after a week? We both like Joseph. I think we agreed on that.
Yeah,
for different reasons, obviously.
I'm like oddly hopeful though that the rest of the season is still salvageable, if that makes any sense.
I feel like it is now.
It really depends on who wins this HOH, to be honest. And like, I think Jasmine winning HOH out of the people that we've seen move on, I think that's like the worst timeline. Or if Nicole wins, because it'll just be another week. Can I just say, I was so right about Daniel. I will say this the rest of the season because everybody preseason was like, Daniel's like, he looks like such a good player. He's a super fan. He is not a super fan. He is what people say that they're a super fan to like get on the show. But he is, I guarantee you, he's not a feedster. I guarantee you he doesn't know, like he would never say something like, what would Janelle do? You know what I mean? And he would also never target the other like fellow super fan in week one.
No.
But like he was like, I've never like he was the total opposite of Frenchie's HOH, right? Like Frenchie like overplayed the shit out of his HOH. Like he targeted like 1 million people. Daniel just played so passive, so beta to the point where like people like talked him into like nominating people that like optically like was really not a good look. And like he even acknowledged that like this doesn't look good, but like I'm still going to let people tell me what to do. And I just don't get how people like that get cast in Big Brother US.
Really quick, B-Bean has a, why does Tyler like just, do you want me to answer this or do you want to do it?
I would love for you to answer this.
Because he took his shirt off, okay, and I had to hear about it.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is I'm glad Marvin was on America's Got Talent and the Circle.
Yeah, it's look, he's not bad. Look, he's not my type. You know, I prefer the dad bod kind of thing, not overly dad bod, but you know, I'm into it. But you know, here's the thing about Daniel.
Like a David Harbour, Stranger Things. I know you're watching Stranger Things right now.
Okay, I'm like finishing up the final episode of Stranger Things after this episode. So keep your phone on. I am a David Harbour. I'm digging the David Harbour without the hair and a little slim down, but I was totally into him in season 1. Yeah. So I'm good with him bigger or smaller. I'm attracted to him. I don't care. I like it. The pants are a little tight in the sheriff's outfit.
That's the style in the 80s though, right?
But sometimes you need to, it gives you a little, you know, peek behind the curtain, see what the Grand Wizard, what kind of wizard I'm got to be, you know, what kind of wizard am I dealing with? Yeah. But I think Daniel, he is a super fan in his own mind, but I feel in my heart, because every super fan is different. If you and I were in the Big Brother house, we would not win HOH first. You don't win HOH the first week. You just don't.
I feel actually like I feel like that's like an outdated sentiment. I feel like modern Big Brother has had a lot of recent winners that have won the first HOH. Cody won the first HOH. Jackson won the first HOH. Nicole Franzel won the first HOH her wedding season. Rachel Riley, I believe, won the first HOH of her season. Hayden, Big Brother 12, won the first HOH of his season.
Wait a minute. Something in the chat. Daniel was on the Circle. Is this breaking news?
No. Marvin, like the real reason Marvin got kicked out of casting was he is going to be on the upcoming season of The Circle, season 5. It hasn't filmed yet, but he basically lied to production saying like, I'm not involved with any other reality TV shows.
My 14-year-old nephew is a better detective than the freaking producers of Big. He sent me a screenshot of
Twitter finds this shit out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, he sent me a screenshot of Taylor in the Big Brother house, and Paloma's picture was already grayed out.
Yeah,
my mind was blown. These people are nuts.
This season is just unhinged. So I hope it's like the entertaining kind of unhinged. That's my hope for the season. Which I guess could kind of be fun because like with last year's season, like it was very much so the opposite of unhinged. Like it was really like a very successful alliance, just like plowing through the entire season and then having to turn on each other. So, but I don't think that's like, do you see like a huge majority alliance like running this season? I don't think so.
No. And I think that if you want, thinking that Pooch is a good, solid person to have in your alliance is ridiculous. You know, though, you ever seen that? He's like a guy that runs around in a circle and still asks for directions. You remember those cards? And you may have never seen this, Tyler, but some people out there, but you get a card and it says, how do you keep an idiot busy for hours? And you flip the card over and it says, how do you keep an idiot busy for hours? And they flip the card over again. This is Pooch. This is what we're dealing with. Brittany, I love to death, but girl, stop.
I'm glad that they showed that tonight.
Yes,
that was
she
like
needs to stop.
she still has not recovered from that. Like Amira really does not trust Brittany now at this point. So I'm curious to see. Amira is still in the running for the HOH as well. I forgot her. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see if they like keep like beefing with each other, or if
that was an uncomfortable after Brittany was talking to Pooch and doing her little thing, trying to work her big brother mist that just smelled. You spray some poopery on that mist because it was not working. Pooch debris. Poopery. Pooch papri. Jesus, what's wrong with us? Anyway, so she gets called out. First of all, she's sitting there. They're like, you get to tell us, did you know anything, Brittany? And she's like, I didn't talk to Pooch. I don't know.
She put the sunglasses on like halfway through, which is like terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what you're I'm seriously, I'm just sitting here. I don't know. You know,
Amira's body language too was like the total opposite of that, Allison. Yeah. Like she was like laying back, like with like her arms like on the but total confident.
That
like
showed me confidence.
Mafia boss. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I could see Amira winning this season.
You know what I would have been? You know what I would have said? If Pooch is in our alliance and I did that and I was getting called out, I would spin it. I'd be like, damn right I said something to Pooch because I could smell a rat and I knew he was a rat. So I planted that little piece of cheese for that rat. And guess what? He ate some of it and brought some of the cheese back to you. Boom. Fixed.
And then you say, like, that's really a reflection of how much you trust Pooch more than me if you're trusting him over my word before asking me about it.
And I actually came in the room to tell you guys kind of what happened, but then you wanted to come in with an attitude, and I felt like something was going on, and I didn't know it had anything to do with this because I'm over here trying to do shit for our alliance while you guys are being mean girls over here.
The spotlight is too harsh on me right now, so I need to put my my sunglasses on.
You know how hard it is to be Brittany, and I'm literally doing everything for this alliance. I'm sniffing out rats. I'm doing everything I can while you guys want to wear pink on Wednesdays. You mean girls. I can't do everything. And I'm a backstager. I have my own ass to worry about.
Well, that's what created this paranoia to begin with.
Give me a break. Oh, I would lie so freaking hard. You wouldn't even see it coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to kind of end things on like just a little more serious of a note, but like everything's okay. So the show that we did on Tuesday, we got some comments from some people who aren't like regular viewers of ours, calling us some pretty like accusatory things. Like they were saying we were racist and saying that we have like a lot of like implicit biases and stuff like that. And I just want to say, like, first of all, like, this is no like Big Brother 15 situation. Like, it's a lot more complex to identify these types of things and to call them out when it's a lot more subtle. I'm relatively new to the term colorism, and that's why we decided to add a Black voice to our panel to kind of explain things that like kind of go over our heads as white people who could be a little ignorant to this kind of stuff. But to that, I will say, like, we need to just be a little more kind with one another in terms of like teaching valuable lessons. I mean, Allison, you said earlier in the show, like there have been plenty of times where you've stepped in it, I've stepped in it, Beth, Andrew, whoever, but we really do a good job like addressing that with one another privately afterwards. And we have a discussion about it and we move on from it and we learn from it. But if we approached one another after those things happen with the same kind of finality and just harshness that we got in those comments, that's not how productive conversations happen. That's not how learning opportunities happen. In fact, it does the opposite. It really cements people in their opposite views and really shuts them off from wanting to take the time to learn, from wanting to take the time to grow. I did a lot of like growing and learning during our coverage of the real world homecoming, in terms of learning how to discuss race, learning how to ask questions that might be a little bit ignorant on my end, and being okay with asking those things in an environment where the person is susceptible to wanting to teach you in a very like educational learning way. And I think that I think that we could really learn from those seasons, especially Kevin in Real World New York, Tammy in Real World Los Angeles, Melissa in Tokyo, and the Real World New Orleans, in terms of how they were able to teach people about their life experiences, about the biases that they have gone through themselves, in a productive way that makes the person on the receiving end of that not make them feel like they did anything wrong intentionally. Right. Because their heart is in the right place. They just don't have that life experience. And I will also say, Allison was the one who had the idea to add a Black voice to our panel. It wasn't me. It wasn't Beth. It was Allison and Andrew that thought that this was an important thing to do. So for anybody to call Allison racist because she didn't really see the minute like details, and that's also probably my fault for not explaining it, the timeline of events properly, because I wasn't watching the feeds as much as I should have been. My workload is like really heavy right now. But I mean, even if I was like well researched on what happened that week, and I thought that Allison said something like off color, I would have a conversation with Allison in a very productive, like, hey, remember when you said that thing? I don't think that was the right approach, and here's why. Maybe this is how we can talk about it next time and learn from it, and ask other people like if they agree. Not that like a single person of color like speaks for an entirety of the race or anything, but to do it in a very like pointing fingers type of way that really just leaves people feeling upset, leaving people feeling like they need to stop covering the show or turning off comments, which is something we don't want to do because we're not like a big podcast.
I've never done that before, by the way.
We're not a big podcast 7 years. We're not like chasing like clout or anything. This isn't our job. We have lives like outside of this thing. This is something we do for fun as just like a passion project. And we love interacting with all of our fans. And comments like that leave us no choice but to rob that experience from our fans. In terms of like they're not able to leave comments and stuff because we do this for fun, and if it's no longer fun, we're not going to do it. But I will tell you guys that like if what we're saying isn't your jam, you're not paying our bills, we're not paying your bills. We are not bound to each other in any way. Lord knows there's plenty of Big Brother coverage out there. So, and with many different voices from different backgrounds and stuff, that can definitely give you more insight to your what you are experiencing this fishbowl of a social experiment to be. So if that's the case, I implore you to go find other outlets to discuss these things with. In the meantime, like we will continue to keep our ears open, and of course, like I feel like we always acknowledge very quickly and very humbly when we've stepped in it, because like our pride is not like we don't think like very highly of ourselves, not in like a self-deprecating way, but in like we are open to listening about that kind of stuff. But what we won't be open to is people just throwing out like garbage absolute terms that are just simply not true. So with that being said, just be a little kind. I don't deserve it. Allison doesn't deserve it. Nobody on this show deserves it. And at the end of the day, it's a television show. Like none of us are saving lives. If we did something wrong, tell us in a nice way, and we will be the first to listen and say, yeah, we maybe missed it on that one. But thank you for watching and keep following along with us, and we'll learn next time as well. So that's all I have to say about it. If you had anything to add to that.
Well, thank you, Tyler. I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me because he and I had a conversation later on Tuesday night, and I think I didn't explain myself very well, and it kind of turned one way, and then it immediately got back on track. It's important for us to educate the people who are in this with us. We're all in a classroom together. And, if someone isn't understanding something or I feel like, we kind of have
We'll
a little
listen.
bit of, yeah, well, listen, we have a little bit of an obligation to teach. And we also have an obligation to be students, and I feel that I am an ally for everyone and I love everyone. And if I am speaking up on behalf of a group that I'm an ally of, and what I'm saying is right and what I'm saying is true, don't deny the message because the face is white that it's coming out of. I think that's unfair. I listen to everyone, but then again, I've never suffered the hands of any kind of racism. So I also am empathetic to the views of those who don't trust people.
We see it before we do.
Yeah, and I get that and I respect that. But to call me a racist and I need to shut my mouth and not speak to people of color about their problems and tell them what racism is. I'm the main problem of all of this. I never said anything even remotely close to that on Tuesday night. All I said was my view was different. I didn't think what was happening was 100% racism, maybe 10%. And the rest of it was just a bunch of little girls acting like they were in high school on their high horses, bullying someone. And it turned
Jackie
in,
agreed was the
and Jackie, whom I had a conversation with before the show, agreed with me. And I will not shut up. I'm not turning the comments off again. You can hate me. I don't give a shit. What's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. Not all of us are going to agree. That's the great thing about this. You may hate being an American right now, but hey, we can say what we want most of the time.
That's another point I wanted to make, Allison, is like if we all agreed on everything, it would be a very boring podcast. And that was one of the absolute highlights and like a growing opportunity for me watching the Real World Homecoming and covering it was it's okay to have different takes on a situation and express those and debate about it like in a healthy, respectful way. But I think that's the point I'm trying to make is the respectful way.
Right. And, I respect the hell out of Tyler and Beth and Andrew and Jackie and the people that come on this show. We're a family and we don't always agree. We have our moments too, but we're family and we come together, and this is a safe place for people to come and vent your frustration in the chat. I'm fine with that. I want to hear if you're frustrated with what's going on with Big Brother. Okay, that's totally fine. You may not like what we're talking about. That's
we even have people in the chat that like often go back and forth about like disagreeing like takes on the season, and we always like welcome that conversation as long as it's respectful of one another, and it never gets to that point. Like our fans are really or not fans, that feels very gross. Our friends are
we have fans, like, let's just go with this. I'm joking.
They're respectful of each other though, and that's the point we're trying to make here is just be respectful and kind
and listen,
it's okay.
Don't say anything to me in a comment that you won't say to my face. Okay, I'm not a keyboard troll warrior. Everything I'm saying on this show, I will say to you. Don't get it twisted. It will happen. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And it's probably my meds that keep me unafraid. But listen, Roy the Virgo, he says, I'm not a fan. I'm a windmill baby. LOL. Hey, listen, Heather Jean, thank you for telling us we rock. Everybody in the chat, you're so supportive. We love you all. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Big Brother has evolved. It's not what it used to be. And yeah, we're negative sometimes. And I'm not going to apologize because this ends up being a therapy session every week. But hey, we're here for it. And we're going to continue to cover it until
so it's not fun anymore. And
it's
like
not
if
fun or I'm
Big
dead.
Brother is not fun for you as like a viewer,
Yeah.
to the point where you're having to like leave these comments and stuff, maybe zoom out and realize like maybe this show is not for you. Protect your own mental health if this show is really getting to you. Not in the Paloma way, but like in like if this show is bringing you negativity in your life and nothing positive,
you know the
you don't owe it anything, you know?
Right. And we'll end the show. But here's the thing. My husband, he's so funny. He's been around me for, God bless him, 22 years. I was kind of crying to him the other night about everything. And he's like, Allison, do you remember the time
Oh boy.
you got that comment about some guy said that you were so ugly that you look like E.T. and Reese Witherspoon had a baby and it turned into a zombie and I was that ugly and you lost your shit over that. And I'm like, God, I miss those days. I had a nervous breakdown over that comment. I've had my life threatened over Star Wars coverage. I had someone threaten my life because I said Daryl Dixon is a pussy now on The Walking Dead. And I'm going to say it right now. I don't care. But, I get, but it happens. But yeah, I kind of miss those after the other night. But it is what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So that's our spiel. We'll see. I'll have the draft update next week for you guys. To be honest, I like started watching the show a little bit late tonight because I was doing a shoot, but so I don't have it like ready here. But yeah. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. I know we went a little long-winded on that last thing, but like it's important to kind of nip it in the bud before it gets out of control, because this is week 1. We got 84 days of this shit. So
it's 84.
Right? Doesn't it feel like it's already been like 3 months of covering this season? But yes, we have a long way to go. Everything's fine, and we'll have a good time covering it. And yeah, so I think with that being said, we'll be back on Tuesday to talk about the live feed updates. I think Kim will be back with us, and then our new patron, Steven or Stefan. I always forget how to pronounce that. I think it's Stefan. He will be joining us to break down week 2. We'll see what this huge announcement that Julie has in store is. I don't even want to speculate because I'm sure whatever their idea is going to be way dumber than anything I suggest.
Wait, I'm sorry. It's been 84 years. This freaking is that a Titanic throwback? Do it.
Yes. All right. Well, we love you guys. We'll have a good weekend. We'll see you guys next week, and take care. Bye-bye.